Well, so as you know, you're gonna be my mentor for those 12 weeks.
Yes.
And during that time, whether you come to my classroom to observe me, or I'm gonna be recording at least one of my classes.
Okay.
One of the class that I decided to record most of the time is gonna be our Spanish language arts
Mm-hmm.
class.
Mm-hmm.
And for that first week, at least, I'm gonna review what I last taught. Basically, what I'm gonna be teaching next week, that's what I'm gonna start with.
Okay, so coming back after Christmas break is okay.
So basically, I'm over here. It covers the grammar, the word feature of the week,
Mm-hmm.
and then some cultural parts.
Okay.
But the cultural part I already covered. I don't have to go over it again. Especially, I'm gonna focus on that first week on the grammar, which is like the progressive verbs. So I'm gonna make sure they master that those words.
Okay.
One of the activities that I have done and I'm gonna do again is like word sorts,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have like a chart where if they read a book in Spanish and they find one of these verbs, they need to write it down
Okay.
over there. So it turns into something more interactive.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna be reading some mentor texts that they have to do. I'm gonna review the word wall words so they don't forget the meanings and they can be able to know what they mean and also understand what they read.
Yes.
Then in my classroom, I like I like to for it to be interactive.
Mm-hmm.
I like to use technology as much as I can. One of my rules is that we listen to everyone. So I expect my students to come over here. If they want to participate, they need to raise their hand.
Mm-hmm.
So in an orderly fashion. Yes, there are times that I'm gonna ask them, just to call out and answer, and they should be able to know when to do that when I instruct them to. And but the rest of the time they need to raise their hand. They need to be here on time, and asking permission to go to the bathroom needs to happen before class starts.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if you have any other guidelines or expectations for your students that you will suggest.
Um, I guess transition times. You obviously have a self-contained classroom, so transitioning from one subject to another. What does that transition time look like?
Well, normally I give them, I give them a couple minutes for them to get their stuff ready. That's the time also they need to, if they need to go get something to their locker, so they don't go during class.
Okay.
There are times that I just, if I need to keep them inside, I just, talk to them and kind of like disconnect a little bit to get back, back in on track, or we just play a game.
Okay.
Okay, so sometimes it's like that. Sometimes we can. What was the other thing that I did the other day? Um, we did a. It was a game, but it was more towards math class and division with cards. So we just practice with that, and they seem to like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be good. I will be checking for more transitions for my to implement into my classroom, because it's true. I find it sometimes it's hard when you have them the entire day
Yeah.
after another class, and sometimes when by the end of the day there are times that they just they're disconnected.
Yes.
Then we also these are the standards for this unit.
Okay.
We're gonna be covering reading literature, because one of the things that you're gonna see throughout the video, probably I could record myself doing some of that part, is that I read a mentor text.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it to them. We ask questions. If I ask them, according to what we read, to draw a story, a picture, and they'll be able to show if they comprehended what I read. Also, the writing part, there's gonna be things that according to the grammar feature, I'm gonna ask them to write something
Okay.
in order to for them to tell me, show me what they have understood about that. For example, a couple weeks ago we were talking about the past tense and the future tense, and I asked them a question, and they have to write a small paragraph about for the future tense, what would they like to be when they grow up?
Sure.
And they have to use that. Then language, they need to stay in Spanish the entire time.
Okay.
There shouldn't be any English. And one of the things that I like to use, if there sometimes, I need to identify when a student is being careless and using the language, or they doesn't know. I don't want to shut off their learning. So okay, so if they say a word in English, okay, this is how you say it in Spanish. Or, okay, that's a good example of the word in English. What would be in Spanish? So I try to turn it back into Spanish.
So it's an opportunity even
Yeah.
then to learn something. Yeah.
Exactly. So, they need to use the correct ways to speak the language, the tenses and all of that. Then reading informational text, we teach them culture as well. So there's a lot of information about Puerto Rico or other Hispanic countries, how they do stuff. So there's a lot of information on those texts. Speaking and listening, they work together. I like to do a lot of activities where they collaborate with each other, so that way they can listen and they can also give feedback to each other. And then the foundational skills. Apply the grade level phonics, and just do the things that a fourth grader should do.
Sure.
Okay, and then the last part will be the rubric that you're gonna be using for my evaluation. And basically, this is the same one, and it's like 10 standards. So it covers, learner development, learning differences, learning environments, and so on. They're gonna give you guiding questions, and then it's gonna be you're gonna kind of like score me in
Sure.
insufficient, basic, proficient, or outstanding. And then they will tell you exactly what they how do you want them to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you have any questions?
As far as you said videoing, but obviously it'd be good for me to be here at least from time to time.
Yeah.
So obviously if you're comfortable with that, it'd be a good
No,
opportunity
definitely.
to see you in person.
And even if it's not the Spanish language arts, basically, this is the part where I teach them the grammar. But I do math in Spanish, and that way you can tell me, in other classes, what do you suggest for me to use, not to use, and etc.
Okay.
So and also you can give feedback according to what do you see, how is their attitude towards learning and all that stuff, so
Yeah,
I
and
can
just
improve.
student interaction with you, and the back and forth. Yeah, for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.